Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When we thinking about forgiveness, and normally what comes up to our head is why should I forgive? Is forgiveness equal to forgetting? And the answer to this question, to this hesitation, is no. It is actually not a case of one or the other. They somehow live together. Okay. It's actually an art and the inner courage to overcome whatever memories we have about past pains, resentments, and so forth. A courage that lead us to another side. And what is that other side? The other side is freedom. It's freedom from an empowerment, a freedom from not only pain, but also freedom from others holding us hostages in our self-pity, in our hatred, in our anxieties, in our, I would say, poor mental and spiritual health. So, in order to combine those both and start living, enabling them to live together in our chest, in our emotional and probably cognitive planes, it's really important to understand that uh, forgiveness, preceded by pain, is only an invitation. It's only an invitation. Forgiveness invites you into something of a higher potential. Forgiveness also has things to offer to you. You have to understand, we have to understand that freedom from revenge, resentment, grief, and self-pity equals in happiness, equals in living in present, equals in having a healthy and tawakkul, meaning hope-based, hopeful attitude for the future. And not only Islamic psychology teaches about it, but also positive psychology teaches about it. One of the ways to learn the art of combining those both, meaning remembering and forgetting, is to rely on the stories of people who succeeded in it. So, in Quran, in Bible, but also in Torah, we have this beautiful story of Yusuf. And Yusuf alayhi salam, his qadr, he had to deal with his qadr, which was actually um, full of examples of betrayal. So he was betrayed by his brothers, then he was betrayed by humanity, meaning traders, they found him, and instead of rescuing him, they treated him as a livestock. His brothers, they tried to kill him, and eventually they threw him in the well. And then his masters, they had those massive issues in their relationships, and they decided to blame him and put him into prison. And then his prison mates who relied upon him, the moment they got out, they forgot about him. So it was a trial of um, bereavement, of disappointment, of resentment stories for Yusuf. But Yusuf was higher than that. He wanted to go on the other side. He wanted to use this experience to foster his relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also understand what tawakkul really means. And he used prison, he used this loneliness for one purpose only. He used it to outgrow himself. So when he met his brothers, decades after them trying to murder him, he said, "Today there is absolutely no blame on you." And he, Allah is the most merciful. Then that you can find it in Quran, Surah 12, verse 92. So forgiveness does not mean forget. And the reason why it's so important for us to forget is because the pain, the lesson, the lesson of being hurt is actually serving us a great deal of support in situations where we need to, in the future, recognize red flags, when in the situations when we need to put on our reptilian brain and protect ourselves, survive, and make the closest one to us safe. So what happens in your brain on very bio and very neurological level, this experience of pain or any actually emotion is It's being recorded as a memory encoded in the amygdala. And the act of not forgetting, meaning conscious choice of re-remembering it, yeah, creates sort of a habit that allows us to hold on to those memories. So this is not only emotional, this is actually biological. And that in a sense, if you're living in this scarcity, creates a stress to you on your body. Stress creates stress to your organs, especially cardiovascular stress, muscular stress, and I would say stress at the level of your kidneys because they're responsible for adrenal secretion. However, if you go on to other side and you decide to be conscious about the process of forgiving, and that is not the same as forgetting, it's just you changing how you approaching that experience, meaning you moving into the future. There is a reduction of activity in your amygdala. So a brain region associated with emotional responses, a particular fear and anger, they produce less of those emotions, less of those instincts. And that, in a sense, biologically, creates a higher cognitive process and emotional ability to produce emotions such as empathy. And empathy is perspective taking. Empathy in us also calms us down because we're depersonalizing the whole experience. We're no longer victims of the situation of this person, but we sort of understanding the broader environment and situations which led to this person or people who betrayed us in any way, betrayed our trust, betrayed our rights, betrayed whatever boundary you can imagine. So forgiveness, in that sense, it's not going against yourself because you, as your, as your basic self, as your animalistic self, you need to protect yourself. But forgiveness invites you to go into your frontal lobe, and that means that you giving yourself a challenge to outgrow those experiences, learn something what we like to call resilience, and you tapping into a new sphere. This is actually a spiritual sphere. What we call what we refer to it, we could refer to it in Islam from the perspective of Hadith of Qudsi, I am with my servant as he thinks of me. So God, you perceive God as you think of him. Therefore, thoughts, how we cognitively position ourselves in respect to pain, in respect to betrayal, in respect to our ability to forgiveness, has a massive impact on our spirituality, how we connect with higher self. And that in itself allows us, if you are going to go on the other side, that in itself allow you to understand that if he's a Rahman, if he's a Rahim, and he's Ghafur, if he's Latif, and he forgives you all of your shortcomings, and that brings you such a peace, sakina to yourself, wouldn't it be great to incorporate those attitudes in your relationships, including your relationships with people who betrayed you, including your habits of thinking about those betrayal situations, because it's a habit, our thoughts can be completely habituated. So what I'm trying to say, letting go on resentment, letting go on aggression, on anxiety, on pain, is moving you out from what other person have done to hurt me, and it's moving you into nuances of new understanding. What led this person to hurt me and other people? What is it about this person behavior that he or she wasn't able to act in more humanitarian way? What happened to this person that she might actually reacted out of survival mode, just like I'm reacting from survival mode, holding on to betrayal? Maybe that person, something happened to that person, and she was also acting out of fight, flight, and fright. And now she injected that on me, and now I'm passing it to further generations. And suddenly, you're taking responsibility not only for your own actions, but for conditioning of your children, for conditioning of your current relations and relationships, and for most of you, taking control of how you're perceiving God and how God is of forgiving and of merciful. There's absolutely no flaws in his character. There's absolutely no flaws in his justice. The moment you realize that everything that happens for you here is for the benefit of your akhirah, if you're not limiting yourself to your experience as a human, if you start considering yourself as a soul as well, that forgiveness isn't that difficult. This is not only my dua for you, this is actually my invitation for you. For next 5 days, starting from 15th of January, I'm running this amazing 5 steps program to forgiveness to your parents. Skills which I'm going to teach you are absolutely transferable to any relationships, but starting with parents is especially important because conditioning has a massive impact, profound impact on how we understanding and how we positioning ourselves and what we expecting from relationships. With that being said, I hope to see you on the other side. Bir Walidain 5 steps program to forgive your parents. The link is below, and I hope to serve you there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.